Welcome, everyone, to Rarefied Air. It's always a magical time coming to the World Center of Racing. Tonight is no different. The halfway point has passed. The second half of the Winstel Cup Series season begins, and it is a sprint to the chase for the Winstel Cup. We're glad you're with us here tonight. It is the time for the Pepsi 400 from Daytona International Speedway. This is Winstel Cup Series racing on ABN. With 13 races down, 12 to go. It is going to be a wild time with just 4 races until the chase. We have Daytona tonight, Watkins Glen, Indianapolis, and then Richmond to determine the chase grid. It's going to be very important, and it's important to qualify tonight. 44 cars going for 43 spots. Qualifying ongoing, but before we get into the qualifying coverage here, a look at the points as things stand entering this race. Dylan Roberts with the lead at the top of the standings by 10 points, taking that over from Emily Howe, who had it just briefly before Chicagoland. Chicagoland, an up and down race for a lot of cars here. Jeremy Davis in third, Jacob Potak fourth, Gabriel Mauricio in the top 5, same with Nick Doucette, Christian Budd, Tyler Head, Ryan Andrew, and Sean Pellig, who gets into the top 10 with 2 really good back-to-back results, as win Sonoma in his top 10 finish in Chicagoland last week. It gets a little more interesting. Brandon McKissick missed out, dropped out of the top 10. He's in 11th. Christina Ryan, also not far from that range, in 12th. Evan Locke in 13th, was fastest in practice here in Daytona, trying to convert that to a race win. He's going to need to do so if he wants to try to make the chase of the Winstel Cup for the first time. Brennan McGee in 14th. He's won here back in February. Can he do it again here tonight? Jose Solis Jr. in 15th. Got a very needed race win last week in Chicagoland. Needs more of those, though. Kyle Benson, Ryan Hill, Larry Pace, Austin Reedy, and Philip Snipes also needing to recover to try to make a run towards the chase. You look further down the order, these are drivers that maybe aren't thinking chase. They're thinking just stay locked in, stay in the top 35. Parker Alexander, Jonathan Hernandez, who's not present tonight, he will fall down the order. Kirk Marble, Ryan Doucette, Brandon Cruz, Alex Bates, Josh Chen, the part-time driver who has looked electric every time we've seen him. Steve Brown, Mike Rasmus, and Tom Willett sit in your top 30. Jordan Barabee, Corey Cook, Christian Poe, Matt Sisler, and Brandon Coppinger sit in your top 35. Everyone behind this has to qualify their way in. The likes of Lucas Davila, Craig Lautenslager, Corey Steinhauser, Tyler Murray, Andrew Ferrinaires all have to try to qualify their way in. Anthony Krovac, Andrew Griesbaum, Alex Chilcutt, who is no longer racing this season. His seat has been taken over by Tyler King. Thomas Lewandowski, who had a really good run in Chicagoland last weekend as well. Matt Taylor, Matt Skipper, Ashley Kolonix, Hayden Rapus, Andrew Ratliff, and Evan Mellons in your top 50. But all these cars on your screen need to qualify their way in. That is important because we have more than 43 cars trying to show up and make this race here. And right now, we look at it, it is, I believe, currently Davila on the hot seat. If I'm not mistaken. No, Ken Huff is. Ken Huff is not yet set a lap time. Neither is Jose Solis Jr. And it looks like it is going to be Ken Huff that does not start the race here tonight. Qualifying just like that, done and dusted here in Daytona. Your qualifying results, it is Lewandowski picking up where he left off in Chicagoland last week, top of the board in qualifying. Did an outstanding job there. Tyler Head, Jeremy Davis, Jordan Barabee, your top 4. That is your first 2 rows in the field. Andrew Griesbaum, Nick Doucette in row 3, Evan Locke and Kirk Marble in row 4, ahead of Ryan Hill and Brennan McGee trying to grab the sweep at Daytona. Brendan Coppinger, he made his way in pretty safely. He's alongside the former Winstel 400 winner in Emily Howe. Gabriel Mauricio in 13th alongside Dylan Roberts, your points leader, in row 7. Jacob Potak and Matt Skipper in row 8. And Sean Peleg and Philip Snipes in row 9. Parker Alexander and the debutant Tyler King round out your row 10. That is your top 20 here in Daytona. Anthony Kroback, Ethan O'Connor in row 11. Then it's Kyle Benson and Brandon McKissick in row 12. Christina Ryan and Evan Mellinson in row 13. Row 14 is Christian Budd, the defending Winstel Cup Series champion, alongside Chris Champeau. Chris Bishop and Steve Brown make up row number 15. Then it's Austin Reedy and Ryan Andrew in row number 16. Row 17 is Tyler Murray and Craig Lautenslager. Alex Bates and Corey Steinhauser in row 18. Row 19 is Corey Cook and Matt Taylor. Mike Rasmus makes the field, as does Brandon Cruz in row 20. Lucas Davila and Tom Willett will make up row 21. Davila does make the field at the expense of the 10 car of Ken Huff. Jose Solis Jr. will start from the back of the field, 43rd and last for the Pepsi 400. And with that, the field begins to roll here for the Pepsi 400, race 14 of 25. 4 races to go. We go road course racing next weekend from the Finger Lakes region of New York at Watkins Glen. Then we take on the Brickyard after that, and then we end off the regular season with a race at Richmond. We get into Chase for the Winstel Cup here in 2025. The beautiful car is on track here. Traditionally the firecracker race being run in the daytime conditions here today. This is kind of how firecracker started. The firecracker started with a race at 10 a.m. when it was first conceived as the second race at Daytona on the calendar. It wasn't until much later, once you got into the 1990s, that it became more of a night race. A tradition to run this race at night. However, this is the new Gen 4. We are doing what we couldn't do back in March, and that is bring these cars around the old bumpy surface that these cars would have enjoyed back in 2005, the season the series is based off of. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Thomas Lewandowski and Tyler Head at the front of the field. They're giving us an extra formation lap here, making sure everything is good to go at the top of the board. Got some new little gadgets up here in the broadcast booth. Got some information up here, information about the driver in question, but also what car they're driving. Obviously, all of these cars, they are based off of cars that have run in real life in the 2005 season, whether it was for the Cup Series or sometimes for the Busch Series that we've seen with Winstel expanding so rapidly. Sometimes there's not enough Cup cars to roll around, and you're going to see that a lot next season as well with the 2000 throwbacks. We get to see a lot of this, so you get to see some interesting information there. Tyler Head obviously driving the 05 car from Terry Labonte. Labonte was part-time in this car back in 2005. Lewandowski driving the one that was driven by Martin Truex Jr. and Paul Menard. Gordon Barabee driving the 05 car that was driven by Casey Mears. This was prior to Reed Sorensen taking over that car. Also Nick Doucette driving the DuPont 24, now the Pepsi 24. Made iconic by Jeff Gordon. But we got some interesting little toys up in the booth here today. And we're excited to get the show on the road. Also popping up top of your screen is a look at the ticker. So you're going to see a bunch of drivers in the conversation. I'll pull this up too. Those in green currently in the currently in the chase as things sit. Those in yellow are on the bubble. So if you're within a race of the chase, you are in yellow. If you're mathematically out of it, you're marked in red. Not many marked in red here tonight. That'll grow as we get closer and closer to the start of the chase. Pace car peels off, and the green flag flies. The Pepsi 400 is underway. We're racing at Daytona. And caution out on the opening lap, and it is not a pleasant sight for all of these cars involved. Ken Huff, the 01 of Ryan Andrew, Craig Lautenschlager, and Brandon Cruz all involved. Looks like Corey Cook got a huge piece of it as well. He's coming down pit lane. So we're under caution for the first time tonight at the end of lap 1 of a scheduled 55. So what happened here? This is coming in the turns 3 and 4. Looks like everyone checked up behind Steve Brown on the outside lane. Hard to tell there. Let's look up a little bit forward. This is with Steve Brown going into turns 3 and 4. Was it just a checkup on the outside lane? A little bit, yeah. No one's really doing anything wrong there. Just a checkup out behind the fact just gets a huge run of momentum and nowhere to go with it. Unsighted. That's the 01 of Ryan Andrew. Tyler Murray gets lucky, that 07. Not so fortunate Alex Bates. 00 of Mike Rasmus. Gets away largely unscathed. Bates gets thrown to the wall there. 29 of Solis has to go through the grass. So does Tom Willett, the 21 for Wood Brothers Racing. That's where Corey Cook gets his damage. You see the other 4 cars there. So a little over a dozen cars involved in this one. You see Cruz, his car completely destroyed. Indeed, Corey Cook's day is done early. First retirement of this race. We sit under caution for the first time today at the end of lap 1 for a multi-car crash. It is Tyler Head, who we saw take the lead out of turn 2. And he will lead the field to green for the upcoming restart over Nick Doucette and Jordan Barabee. Tyler Head going to try to lead the Behemoths to the green flag here at the end of, I believe, the next lap, I believe. So we're seeing on our timing screens at the moment. Not a lot of shuffling was able to take place there in that one lap of running. but it was a pretty significant drop for Lewandowski, the Pulsatrix, from first to fifth on that opening lap, and it was about to get a little bit worse. The outside lane had all the momentum, and we saw the pros and cons of that all on one lap. Are still in pit lane. Brandon Cruz and Ken Huff. As mentioned, Corey Cook's day is over, one lap in. Ken Huff and Brandon Cruz will be a lap down on this upcoming restart. It is going to be interesting how this all plays out. Head, Doucette, Barabee, Marvel, and then Lewandowski, your top five. Brendan McGee already up 4 spots from 10th all the way to 6th. As you would with the outside lane, Jeremy Davis in 7th, Emily Howell up to 8th, Dylan Roberts in 9th, and Ryan Hill in 10th. Very interesting how the 15 and the 6 are sitting nose to tail right now. If they get much higher, so 10 points the gap. The gap between some of the spots at the top of the field, you look at 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The separation is 5 points a position. You have 180, 175, 170. Very possible for the lead of the points to change hands once again between those two. See if it does. Very tight at the top between two of Winstel's most consistent drivers this season. Ready to hear 43 stock cars roar back to life at the end of lap 4. Pace car is in, green flag is out. Back underway we go for the Pepsi 400. And it is the Pepsi Chevrolet of Nick Doucette right on the bumper of Tyler Head. Forces Barabee to go to the inside lane, and Barabee's going to go for it, but have no support immediately. He's got to wait for Jeremy Davis to get to his bumper. And this is where the momentum on the outside lane is going to be so critical. Running on board here with Nick Doucette. You see his mirror full of racing machines. Shadows, former champion. Outside the driver's head, so this is center line with the car. Really got an idea of what he's seeing on board this Pepsi Chevrolet. See, here comes Lewandowski. The 01 trying to charge back forward. Outside lane, it is Tyler Head, Nick Doucette, and Kirk Marble. Lewandowski in front of Brandon Coppinger, the 66 car sitting right there. Had to check up a little bit because of the latency. You saw the blink out there for Lewandowski. That affects the drivers behind him because they lose draft. And Coppinger not going to help Emily Howell. Mauricio does. Car in the fence, Ryan Hill. They made it work there. Very sketchy stuff there. Ryan Hill not comfortable at all. They make it stick though. Ryan Hill down to 13th place. As Pele, the 48, getting around him, the 42 of McKissick trying to work his way around as well. Davila, sorry, not Davila, that is Matt Skipper, the 37. Who is a little bit all over the place right now, trying to find his way into the upper lane. Had to squeeze in between Ryan Hill and Philip Snipes. Ryan Hill backing up big time. He's just trying to get out of the way. He will drop down to the 22nd position and lose a couple more spots. Just trying to retreat to safety. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, here comes Nick Doucette. Doucette at the line takes the lead. So now it's Doucette running the bottom lane, Tyler Head running the top lane. Tyler Head with assistance from Marble and Lewandowski. Doucette with assistance from Jacob Potak and Emily Howe. If you're in the top 10 right now, you're in pretty good company. You've got Sean Pellig, you've got Dylan Roberts, you've got Brandon McKissick, you've got Gabriel Mauricio, former Daytona 500 winner as well, all in the wings. Good company to be a part of there. Lane prevailing a little bit here. Potak slips to the outside lane in front ahead, but the inside lane has set sail a little bit. Nick Doucette and Emily Howe working nose to tail at the moment. Hendrick Motorsports and DEI working in tandem right now. McKissick up to the top 5. He is going to go for fourth here if he can get clear of the 22 of Potak, who is showcasing that the outside lane is not where they want it to be right now. Just not generating the run that it was at the beginning of the run. Everyone's struggling a little bit now. Sights and sounds here in Daytona. They are special. Lap car that they're all getting through. That's Ryan Andrew. Yeah, Ryan Andrew in the 01. Everyone trying to navigate. He'll go below the yellow line. Remember that is the out of bounds area. You cannot advance position, but you can get out of the way and give it up. And that's exactly what he was doing there. Inside lane and outside lane have stalled each other out a little bit. McKissick still side by side with Potak. And a little bit of latency for the 42. Not what you want to see at the front of the field. We saw this with Lewandowski, seeing this now as well with McKissick. Look at Brennan McGee, he's in the top 5 right now. That number 9 Evernham Motorsports machine. There's the 97 as well, and it's Philip Snipes. Former teammates there, the 9 and the 97. And Skipper's made his way back towards the front of the field, trying to get into the top 10. He's in the top 10 right now, actually, in 11th, or in 10th. Set under threat. Emily Howe gets the race lead. New race leader for the third time in Emily Howe. And it's Brenna McGee right behind her. The 15 and the 9 charging to the front, and now it's the outside lane with some prowess. Hendrick Motorsports teammates first and second on the inside lane, but they lost some significant firepower. And the outside lane is on a roll right now. Everyone trying to read the way this field is moving, and it's very hard to do. It seemed like the outside lane just kind of withered and died. And now you've got the 15 and the 9, two very proficient plate racers at the front of the outside lane. It is taken off. It has set sail. Top 5 all single file there. Really, it goes even further back. It goes all the way to Gabriel Mauricio, who slots his way to the inside lane pretty quickly, trying to get around now with the 6 of Dylan Roberts, with Anthony Kroback pulling up. And make that the 3. Hendrick Motorsports Machines nose to tail. Mauricio, Doucette, and Peleg all nose to tail. Here comes Dylan Roberts. And now the inside lane loading up again. As you approach the start of lap 19 of 55 here in Daytona. Board mid-pack. This is with Christina Ryan. Currently right now sitting in the 24th position. Watching that 3-wide position get around the 3Y with Steve Brown. Does so pretty easily. See, hands full of steering wheel in traffic here. These cars bouncing around, obviously with the bumpy surface here at Daytona, but also in the air, generated by over 20 cars in front. But these cars really want to slide around and sort of just shuffle. Right now, Christina shadowing the Budweiser number 8 of Parker Alexander and Christian Budd. So Christina's not in bad company. Christian Budd right ahead as the 8 of Parker Alexander right in the foreground there. Her teammate off to the right-hand side, that is Kyle Benson, the 38. Outside just is the place to be right now, but everyone thinking now pit stops, potentially. And that is a safe bet. Field continues to roll through. It is very close between 1st through 36th, all connected here. We've got obviously some separation here. Mike Rasmus on an island, Corey Steinhauser on an island, Craig Lautenslager on a little bit of an island. He is with the 2 lap cars here. Sorry, he's with Alex Bates, who's not a lap car, and with Ken Huff, who is a lap car there, but they are in a 3-car little mini pack. And they're not far away from the race leaders, who are taking on Ryan Andrew again, and they'll put him another lap down. This is going to get very interesting. See everyone just try to navigate the 01, and they do. Pretty straightforward stuff there. Ryan Andrew just waiting for the big one that we typically see later on in this race, hoping that he can scavenge the points that way. And at the front, it is still Emily Howell who's leading, with Brendan McGee, Jacob Kotak, Tyler Head, and Kirk Marble in your top 5. It is a star-studded top 5 at the moment. Thomas Lewandowski trying to move forward, but stuck now behind Dylan Roberts and the Hendrick Motorsports gang coming up on the inside line, as well as Jordan Barabee. Bit of a flip of the wall there by Kirk Marble. I don't know if that's actual contact with the fence. That one was contact with the fence. You saw him bounce. So Kirk Marble, the handling on that 16 for Roush Racing is falling away. His teammate to his inside now. This field making excellent pace at the moment, averaging about 46-second laps here at Daytona, as they now approach that trio of lap cars, trying to put 2 of them a lap down for the first time. Where it gets a little bit more sketchy. Now everyone's having to sort of move top to bottom. That skipper stuck to the outside. Very intense. This dance back and forth. Ken Huff in the fence. But everyone gets around him. Can they stay that way? That's the 0 of Tyler King. And someone went for a spin. It is Tyler King that went for a spin. No contact with the wall, thankfully, so he'll stay rolling. And the caution does come out, and that is why Solis involved, Lautenschläger involved, Davila involved. So not everyone got clear of that. And this saves everyone from having to worry about green flag pit stops. Second caution of the night here at Daytona. Let's take a look as to why. Full speed right here. And it starts further up the road with Solis. So what happens here with the 29? We'll play this in ABN slow-mo. Looks like he just gets accordion pretty big. That's Ethan O'Connor. 78 of Ethan O'Connor that tags the 29. He checked up for Kyle Benson and Philip Snipes and got ran into by the 78 of Ethan O'Connor. See a few cars taking early evasive action. 99 spins, 34 spins. Overall, not a lot of damage between all of those cars. It's just a lot of cars blocking the brakes up there. A lot of these cars have rear brakes dialed in. For the idea of green flag pit stops, you would like the car to not lock up and just steer straight into the grass like we see so often. So a lot of these cars have dialed in some rearward braking. But what that means is that if you have to slam the brakes under green, you're likely spinning those cars out. And that's what we're seeing right there. Mike Rasmus will take over the lead of the race by staying out. If I'm recalling correctly, I believe Rasmus is the free pass recipient. I'll have to double check on that. Emily Howell maintains her place, first car out of pit lane over Potak, Lewandowski, Tyler Head, and Sean Pelle in your top 5 out of pit lane. Dovsky, Tyler Head, Sean Pellig, Brennan McGee, Nick Doucette, Gabriel Mauricio, Andrew Kropak, Christian Budd. If Rasmus does come down pit lane, Christian Budd joins the top 10 there. He's 11th right now. We'll see how this plays out. I believe Rasmus got the free pass. Aaron's lucky dog. Ironically for the Aaron's 00. So we'll see if he comes up pit lane this time, now that he's back on the lead lap fully. Approach the halfway point in this race. We'll show the points as they stand right now. It is Emily Howe with a firm control of the lead of the points once again. Sitting second right now as things run. Dylan Roberts in second, sitting 14th on the road right now. Jeremy Davis 13th right now on the track. He is third in points still. Jacob Potak in fourth. The top 4 haven't really changed. Mauricio in 5th. As things run, will make things a little more interesting. And then you have Nick Doucette, Christian Budd, Tyler Head, Sean Pellig, and Christina Ryan. Right now sitting in 14th with the shuffling that's going on the racetrack is Ken Huff. Gets his lap back. Remember, 44 cars took the start of this race. Ken Huff using his promoter's provisional. Second time he's done so this season to make the field. He started at the back of the field as well. Started 44th. But Christina Ryan now in the top 10 in the points as things run right now. Obviously, the big question mark over can she stay there? But that's a pretty good boost of confidence there, being in the top 10 in points as things sit. We don't see that very often from Christina here in Winstel, the normally open wheel ace. Putting together some solid runs here this season. It's been a very good summer for the 88 crew so far. And then you look at those on the outside looking in, it's not by much. Brandon McKissick, Brendan McGee, Ryan Andrew, Evan Locke, Kyle Benson, all trying to make ways forward. Ryan Andrew, the 01, is 42nd at the moment. It's not popping up on the overlay, but he is in 42nd, so he is going to lose a significant portion of points. That is accurate as to where he's actually at in the point standings right now. Austin Reedy, Ryan Hill, Jose Solis Jr. Solis right now losing 3 spots where he's at right now, 37th. Larry Pace did not start this race. Parker Alexander in 20th. That is all accurate as we're ready to go back racing. We'll check on those live points later on. Second restart upcoming. Ken Huff. 2 laps down, he got 1 lap back with the wave around. Here's Craig Lautenslager, the 99. And the 01 Ryan Andrew, both of them off the lead lap. Green flag flies, and away we go. It is the damaged race cars on the inside lane, lap traffic, that they will try to navigate quickly. Slowly crawling their way around. Lap cars there, Lautenslager and Andrew. Takes about a full lap to get them brought up to speed. Once they are up to speed, it's almost 200 miles an hour. Around the World Center of Racing, Emily Howe continues to lead this race as things run. I do want to kind of pick and choose somebody we can ride on board with. So we're gonna ride on board. Let's ride on board with Chris Bishop. I think 26 right now. Different look for him. And his number 12 machine. Behind Austin Reedy. You want to see how much things change? Let's focus on this little quick, just like that in a few laps. McKissick and Christina Ryan trading that 10th spot. You're going to see that a lot here. And caution's out. Caution's out for the third time, and this is going to be the caution that makes sure that the field is good on fuel to the end of the race. Now it looks like it is Melanson and Champeau. Melanson in the 19 car, and you see the damage on that Evernham Motorsports machine. So what happened to Evan Melanson? Now it looks like this starts up with Champeau, the 18 car. Maybe in slow motion. It's the left side of Craig Lautenslager's car, and there's nowhere for Melanson to go. Oh, this is going to hurt. Huge hit there. That is Steinhaus with the 55, Ryan Hill the 7. Huge gaggle of cars all involved in that there. It looks like the 0 of Tyler King does avoid that one. That is an ugly crash. And again, it just looks like Champeau. Yeah, Champeau just trying to slot into the middle, but clips the 99. And several cars going wrong for a nasty ride. Turns 3 and 4. So repair work being done. Live fixtures back now. That is Melanson on pit lane. A few more coming down pit lane, including that of Solis. A lot of the wounded cars. There's Tyler King, Ethan O'Connor, Tyler Murray, all down pit lane. The other 31 cars that stayed out believe they are good on fuel to the end. Less than 25 laps to go. And a reminder on the color coding on the ticker, if you're in green, you're currently in the top 10 in points, which means you're currently in the fight for the chase for the Winstel Cup. The objective is to get top 10 in the points by the time we get through Richmond next month. If you're in yellow, you're not out. You're definitely not out, but you're also not completely in either. And if you're in red, you're looking at like Chris Bishop, some of the part-time cars already out, eliminated from chase contention. Those that are in blue, the standard blue that you're seeing like with the Villa, Griesbaum, and Bates, they're not on the bubble, but they're not mathematically out either. Tyler King, the 0 car, should be in red. He is mathematically out of it, but he was a late entry, replacing Alex Shoka today in that 0 car. So that's something that we'll have updated for next week's race at Watkins Glen. $22 laps to go here in Daytona. It is Emily Howe over Jacob Kotak, over Thomas Lewandowski, Tyler Head, and Sean Pellig, your top 5. Anthony Kroback, Brennan McGee, Gabriel Mauricio, Jeremy Davis, and Nick Doucette round out your top 10. Then it's Christian Budd, Dylan Roberts, Kirk Marble, Parker Alexander, and Christina Ryan, your top 15. As things sit right now. Jordan Barabee, Brandon Coppinger, Matt Taylor, Brandon McKissick, and Steve Brown make up your top 20. Live look at points. Emily Howe first, Dylan Roberts down in 12th. Pretty healthy swing at the points, back in the favor of the 15 camp. At a track that Emily has grown to love so often. It is tight at the edge of the chase cut line. 3 points the gap between Christina Ryan and Brandon McKissick there. Only a further 2 points, 5 points for McGee. He is excelling right now as well. And we shouldn't be surprised. McGee is sitting 7th right now. He's doing a good job. It'll make next week's race at the Glen very interesting to follow. You would think theoretically it would help Christina Ryan out a decent amount, coming from the Avian Champ Car World Series, where she's a former champion. She typically has shined pretty well at the road courses. We'll see if that continues. Meanwhile, Emily Howe hoping to go and win another race here at Daytona. Green flag flies once again. Emily's won the Winstel 400. She's not won a Winstel Cup Series event at Daytona. She's won at Talladega. She won this season at Charlotte. Would love to add this to her Cup Series resume. Everyone trying to navigate Ryan Andrews, single lap car there that time around. It is a little bit of a mess the further back you go. Nick Doucette hoping you would get a little bit of help. He got none. And now he's in the sucker hole. Doesn't take a lot to see why it's called the sucker hole. Doucette went to the middle, got put in the middle, and has been pulled backwards. There's McKissick, the 42. Typically, that is a black and red Texaco Havoline car. It is white and blue today. Kirk Marble now throwing in the middle, 3 wide. The sucker hole is going to claim another victim, I do believe. And Doucette thrown up against the wall by Kirk Marble. Good save by Doucette, but Doucette's going to be very unhappy with Kirk Marble there. You see the damage on the right side of that car. That car is pancaked. It is not a great time for Nick Doucette, who needed a good result here. Owen Ryan Andrews playing a dangerous game. He is in the middle of this pack. Alexander, I think it's time to go. He'll put the 01 3 wide. Christina Ryan in support. Brandon Commentator middle 3 wide as well. Trying to support the lap car of Ryan Andrew. Not quite so effective there as Alexander has a little bit of latency, blinks in and out. Kotak trying to go to the front. Support from Brendan McGee. Coming to 16 laps to go. It'll be wild to see how this plays out. Kotak throwing middle 3. He will drop out of the top 10 like a stone. Emily Howe back to the front. Brendan McGee leads the inside lane ahead of Jeremy Davis. And McKissick's made his way to the top 5. He's a part of the dance now in the top 7. It is Howe, McGee, Lewandowski, Davis, Head, Pele, McKissick, Kroback, and Alexander all in your top 9. Mauricio in your top 10. About to lose the top 10 to Christina Ryan. Is just shadowing the Budweiser number 8. It is 3 wide behind the top 10. Christian Bud's gotten ahead of it all. The outside lane surges forward, and it's Lewandowski, your pole sitter, back to the point. A little bit of latency, unfortunately, for Lewandowski. Will scare Tyler Head. Two lap cars, they are rapidly approaching here. That is Ryan Hill and Chris Champeau, and they are going to get well out of the way of the race leaders. Got about 22 cars in this conversation piece going on right now, all the way down to Matt Skipper. They're all here. Those that are not here are waiting for this one to explode. Can't blame them. Feels like we are entered the pressure cooker era of this race in the Pepsi 400. The shadows being cast a little bit longer through turn 1. As the sun gets closer to setting. Race was initially called the firecracker for a reason. The fuse has been lit. Does it go off before we get to the checker flag is the important question. Have we lit the fuse for a firecracker or a cherry bomb? Is the next question on that list. Right now it is Lewandowski leading Tyler Head. That's Tyler Murray, who is on the inside line. I would say he probably should have thought about going below the yellow line instead of forcing a 4-wide situation like that, but that's just me. Everyone survives it. A little looser, Tom Willett, 21. Kotak also loose on the outside lane. So handling falling away on these cars. And you're seeing that on both lanes, outside and inside. Anthony Kroback up to 3rd. Trying to shadow that of Emily Howe. Emily Howe in support. Then it's the lap car of Ryan Andrew. And Ryan Andrew, the reason why he's racing, he's trying to get his lap back. If he can get to the front of the field and get his lap back, and a caution comes out, he is golden. But unfortunately, he's not going to get a whole lot of support immediately. And what this is doing is it's really just allowing the top 4, top 5 to break away. And there goes Steve Brown. And caution's going to come out. Christina Ryan with a save. I believe that was the second part of the equation with Steve Brown. And Steve Brown's got some significant damage on his car. The yellow flag out for the third time today, with less than 10 laps to go. Take a look at what happened to Steve Brown. And it looks like, yes, this is going to be between Steve Brown and Christina Ryan. And we will take a look here. This is lower on the screen, so let's go ahead and get rid of that real quick. AB in slow motion. Yeah, that's initial look. That's Steve Brown moving down the racetrack in front of Christina Ryan. Played in real time from our chopper cam. Yeah, that's Steve Brown trying to shoot for the gap in the middle. That just isn't there. Ooh, and there's the hard hit there for Chris Bishop, and Alex Bates involved in another one. Christina Ryan does a really good job avoiding coming back up on the racetrack in front of traffic, but spins in the process trying to save it. Hard hits there. We'll look, this is on board with the 43 of Steve Brown. It's Ken Huff, the other car involved in that. Oh dear. This is going to be a pressure cooker of a final stanza. Still haven't had the big one. I have a feeling we have just put the field together to have a big one. Lewandowski leads the way, Tyler Head in second. That is as they started this race. Free pass, Tyler Murray. We saw that happening there. John Pellig in third. Gabriel Mauricio in fourth. Anthony Krobach in your top 5. As things run right now. Go. And then we out with a wild ride so far. So this race 12th up to 7th. Importantly, the lead of the championship belongs to her. Lap points one more time here. It is closed in though. Obviously with Howe no longer being at the front of the field, being down in 7th, Dylan Roberts is closed back in within 16 points of the number 15. 7 laps to go here in, or really coming to 6 laps to go when we go green once again in Daytona. Christian Budd, top 6. Nick Doucette, he's not had a fun time. He's in 40th place. He is 7th now in points. Tyler Head in 8th. Sean Pellig in 9th. Brandon McKissick now in the top 10 over Christina Ryan. And the difference is pretty palpable. McKissick in 9th, Christina Ryan with that being involved in that last incident in 24th. Helps shift things pretty significantly there. As we get ready to go back racing. Less than 10 laps to go, which means the lap cars like Brian and Andrew, who we've seen sort of on that inside line throughout this race, they will all stay single file with less than 10 laps to go. So single file restart throughout. It is Lewandowski in control over Tyler Head, Sean Pellig, and Gabriel Mauricio. Keep an eye on the Hendrick cars, the 48 and the 5. Try to work together to get around the 1 and the 44. Chris Champeau trying to play wild card there. And then you have Christian Budd in 6th, Emily House 7th, Kirk Marble, Brandon McKissick, and Jacob Potak, your top 10. Green flag flies, 6 laps to go in the Pepsi 400. Marble with support from McKissick, but it's a 2-car train. Ooh, that outside lane playing a very dangerous game. And that's why, that's a very dangerous game to play. Lewandowski almost got turned. Everyone feeling the urgency pick up. Throwback move to the inside lane. I don't know if that was the right move to make. We'll find out. Kirk Marble in support. Might be the right move to make there. Last season was Jonathan Hernandez who got the underdog win for the first time in his career. Do we get another first-time winner here today? Lewandowski won his first race of the season, his first race in his Winstel career last week at Chicagoland. Can he go back-to-back? He's in a good spot, too. 4 to go here in Daytona. Emily Howe moves to the inside, so does Potak. Like slicing through butter, Emily Howe goes where the clean areas. Side by side, the 77 and the 66 make it 3 wide. And it is Austin Reedy that slits ahead of Brandon Coppinger. And Reedy drops back to the inside lane, trying to play both lanes. He's going to go 3 wide. Trying to make something happen. Car in the fence, car in the fence. Big time, cars in the fence. And the caution's out. And we're going to have the point of no return. We're going to have a green-white checkered finish. And that was the crash that was taking forever to start. And eventually it did. And it's at the expense of a few of the cars trying to make some quiet results happen. Matt Skipper, front of your screen. One of those cars involved. That was the case of just everyone being aggressive late in the race. Let's take a look, because that was the 32 of Matt Taylor that was bouncing off the wall pretty heavily after being corralled up there by Coppinger. Rasmus loose up there as well. Skipper behind both of them. And that's where a lot of this really kind of takes off. Rasmus bounces off of Jeremy Davis. Skipper bounces off of Philip Snipes. 41 of Barabee got moved by Evan Locke. Tom Willett gets a piece of it with Skipper. That's where Skipper loses his bumper. And Christina Ryan takes a dive through the grass. I believe Christina Ryan's okay in this. I would have to hazard a guess she's okay. Yeah, no damage there. Tumble through the grass, though, trying to avoid all the melee. No, there actually is some damage on the 88 car. And it's not insignificant on the nose of that 88 Taurus. This is a live look, and it's off to the back of Evan Locke, where she got that damage. Pit stops happening for those that need the repairs. Christina Ryan does not believe she is in that boat. Looking at a 2-lap restart, probably not wrong on that endeavor. Point of return. We have one attempt at a green-white checkered finish. No cautions. Whatever happens, happens from this point on. It will be reviewed post-race by the Winstel Cup Series admin team. We have 32 cars on the lead lap with the addition of Ryan Hill, who got the free pass. Still no nose on that 7 car, but chance for him to gain some pretty significant positions as things stand. It is Lewandowski, Tyler Head, Sean Pellig, Gabriel Mauricio, and Emily Howe, your top 5 as things play out. Pretty day for those in the top 10 in points as well as those trying to get in. And McKissick now back in the top 10. It feels pretty safe to say with Christina Ryan down in 19th, McKissick in the 11th spot right now. We'll see how that plays out. Solis back up to 15th. That's where he was when he started this race. He's back up to 15th now. Austin Reedy, Kyle Benson, Ryan Hill, who we talked about, is 32nd right now. Larry Pace, who did not start this race. Philip Snipes, currently up into 20th place. Mean to hide the whole thing. Marble, Mark Alexander. You see some of the cars that did not start. Hernandez, Ryan Doucette. Alex Bates there in 30th right now. He's 25th in points. Brendan Cruz, rough day for him. 43rd. An early retirement for him and for Corey Cook in this one. Tom Willett right now sitting 17th on the racetrack. Mike Rasmussen 20th. Ford Barabee and Steve Brown all top 30 as things stand. Everyone's trying to get above the top 30, or trying to get 35th or higher. Corey Cook is in that 35th spot, and it's not by a large margin. Anthony Kroback, if he gets any more positions, might move ahead of Corey Cook here at the end of today's race. So that is a very fun battle to keep an eye on as well. So you're ready to go back racing for our green-white checkered attempts. It is Lewandowski, Tyler Head, Sean Pellig, and Gabriel Mauricio, your top four. Emily Howe in fifth. Potak, Christian Budd, 6th and 7th. Kroback, Roberts, and Reedy, your top 10. Green flag flies. It's time to finish the Pepsi 400. Wasting no time getting to the front. Immediate support from Jacob Potak and from Christian Budd. Dylan Roberts pitches his flag to the outside lane. Bad bump there between McKissick and Kroback. It is going to be a madhouse dash to the finish. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go in the Pepsi 400. Lewandowski leads the outside lane. Emily Howe leads the inside lane. Who tries to make a third lane here? Mauricio drops out of the top 10. They all try charging. 3 wide, Lewandowski in the middle. Emily Howe watching the field behind. Car spun, Austin Reedy. Christian Budd goes for a ride. Emily Howe outside lane. Austin Reedy inside lane. Sorry, Jacob Potak inside lane. Car spun. Lewandowski run to the finish. It is going to be Jacob Potak who wins the Pepsi 400. Emily Howe and Anthony Kroback win second and third. Sean Pellig fourth. Brandon McKissick gets the top 5. And then it's Brendan McGee, Dylan Roberts, Tyler Head. Gabriel Mauricio ends up back in the top 10 and 9th. And Kirk Marble gets the top 10 for his efforts. But it is Jacob Potak who wins here in Daytona. He gets to celebrate and run it down here in front straightaway grass. An outstanding job for Jacob Potak as he celebrates here in Daytona. So while we go through all of that here real quick, let's go ahead and go through the race results. We got interviews coming up here shortly. We'll go through the points at the end of the broadcast here. Jacob Potak and Emily Howe, your top 2. Anthony Kroback in third. Let's see if we can hear from all 3 of them. Sean Pellig, another good run. 3 in a row for him in this summer for the 48 camp. Don't call it a comeback. He's been here the whole time. He's top 10 in points right now, and he's showing it. Brandon McKissick, 5th place, also gets to the top 10 in points after tonight's race. Brendan McGee in 6th closes in on the chance at a top 10 run. Then Roberts in 7th, Tyler Head 8th, Gabriel Mauricio in 9th, Kirk Marble in your top 10 here tonight. Philip Snipes, Kyle Benson, Christina Ryan, it ends up being the teammates, 12th and 13th there at the end of this race. Lucas Davila, the Argentinian, in 14th. Evan Locke in 15th ahead of Jordan Barabee. Andrew Griesbaum and Ken Huff, 17th and 18th on the grid. Sam Willett and Parker Alexander, 19th and 20th on the grid there. Not bad for Ken Huff, who started this race using his promoter's provisional to start 44th and dead last on the field. Tyler Murray and Matt Skipper, 21st and 22nd. Christian Budd, 23rd, after you saw his wild ride on the final lap. Not how he wanted to see this race end. He'll have to shake it off and go to Watkins Glen next Sunday to try to rally back from this one. Tyler King on his debut, 24th place in the net zero number 0. Alex Bates in his number 40, rough day at the office, 25th is the best he could muster in that machine. Ryan Hill, equally rough day, 26th for him, ahead of Mike Rasmuth, Jeremy Davis, Austin Reedy, and Jose Solis Jr., who could only manage 30th place at the end of today's race. Brandon Coppinger, Thomas Lewandowski, Chris Champeau outside the top 30, along with Ryan Andrew. You look at a lot of these cars that are off the lead lap, either wrecking before the white flag or earlier there and not finishing this race at all. Craig Lautenslager in 35th, 2 laps down, had a very quiet race after being taken out early. Ethan O'Connor in 36th, not seeing the finish. Neither did Matt Taylor, Steve Brown, Chris Bishop, Nick Doucette, whose Pepsi machine ended this race pretty well into this event. Evan Mellinson, Corey Steinhauser, Brandon Cruz, and Corey Cook all out early in this one. It is time for us to hear from the drivers that have finished first through third in this event. We will start with Anthony Krobach, the 11 car, who grabs his first podium of the season, 3rd place. And if I'm not mistaken, this puts the 11 car in the top 35 in the owner's points, which was a huge goal to try to get set up there. Anthony, walk us through it. That was a wild race, and that 11 car looked pretty game for the challenge.
Yeah, first off, feels good to finally be in the top 35. It's been a nightmare season for the guys, week after week, whether it's something myself or just bad luck, wrong place, wrong time. Feels good to, get a P3 first podium in Winstel for me. The car was fast. We always have speed here at the super speedways, but it's just a matter of, keeping your nose clean. Oh, can you hear me? Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Okay. You just got to find your friends where you can. And then, that last restart was something else. I appreciate McKissick for not turning me. I would have understood if he did. But in those situations, you gotta do what you gotta do. And glad to come out P3.
Obviously, it has been a race. It has been a season of struggles for the 11 camp, really for the Joe Gibbs Racing camp as a whole. This is going to be a silver lining for sure for the 11 camp going through the remaining races. For you, you look at this now, you've got to defend the top 35 because it is a very tight fight there. When you look at where you're at with, the likes of Corey Cook, with obviously Josh Chen trying to make his way into the top 35, you have a lot of these partial drivers that you either have speed but aren't racing full time, or the drivers that are sort of in your range that you deal with on a regular basis. You have 3 races before the chase begins, and hopefully you don't have to worry about having to qualify in like everyone did tonight. But you look at Watkins Glen, you look at Indianapolis, another opportunity for us to see more than 43 cars, and then Richmond. Is this something that the momentum can be built on across the rest of the season, knowing you still got 11 races to go? Or is it back to the grindstone when you get to Watkins Glen in New York next week?
I feel like it's a little bit of both. Obviously, it feels good to have a good run like this, but you just got to take it week by week. Every week is different. And all of those guys in that top 35 battle are fast. There's no reason why it's been a hot battle all season. I feel like if I would have been able to make some races and some things could have changed in other races for us, we wouldn't have to worry about trying to qualify in every night. But it just comes with it, and you just gotta take the punches where you can take them. And that's really my mindset going forward. Just take it one week at a time. Just have the best possible run we can, make up as much points, and just be comfortable in that top 35.
Well, it all starts with the single step, and that step came tonight with a 3rd place finish here in Daytona. Before we let you go and let you enjoy the podium and focus on Watkins Glen next Sunday, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on an amazing run and the first podium for the Joe Gibbs Racing Camp all season.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen. Yeah, shout out obviously the Winstel League. I appreciate everything that they've been doing over the whole year. It seems like they never have a day off. Obviously, you and ABN for all the work that you guys do for the broadcast, and shout out to the Big Fan Esports. Good run. Glad that we could show out, and obviously for the GGR crew. Hopefully, we can build on this as a team going forward.
An outstanding run for the 11 camp. Anthony, we'll see you at Watkins Glen next week. Enjoy the podium, and hopefully we get to talk to you again very soon.
Yeah, thank you.
That was the 11, Anthony Kroback. The 11 for Joe Gibbs Racing gets P3 tonight. We'll move on to second place, Emily Howe, losing out by just mere margins, but it is the championship lead back in the hands of the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. Walk us through that one. That one was a bit hectic, but that 15 car, as we typically see at these play tracks of all things, very game and very competitive all night long.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first race in the new draft package of this new car, so definitely a good test to kind of see how things worked out for everybody. Felt like we had probably one of the cars to beat tonight, and definitely was having a good time working with Potak and Brennan McGee and all those folks tonight. Probably should have stayed low with Potak off of 2, but I thought the top would roll harder than what it did, so we kind of, happy with second, happy with the points lead, but, wish we could have gotten a little bit more there off of turn 2.
Oh, you mentioned that first time we've been at really to a play track this season with the new Gen 4. And it was an interesting learning experience, I think, for everybody. Outside lane looked really good. When it was you and Brennan up front, it was unstoppable. And then there was times where it just didn't exist, and it was hard. It looked like it was hard to gauge whether that outside lane was legit, was consistent or not. What was the feeling inside the car? Because you got to see kind of both ends of it, both it working and it not working. What was the need for getting that outside lane to work the way it really needed to, the way it was at the beginning or in the middle?
It's really dependent on who's up there, right? Who's leading the lines, who's doing the pushing. So, when you see people who, you consider the best at the plate racing leading the field, whatever line they're in will roll. So, early in the race, when, me, Potak, and a couple others ran the bottom, and we had it rolling, 10 cars ahead, and then, we moved to the top, and same deal up there, right? It's not that one lane's better than the other. It's just that momentum will be with the people who are organized and really, can get their pushes really timed out the right way.
Well, we got to see a lot of learning here tonight, and obviously we now go into a stretch of races where there's going to be even more learning. We got Watkins Glen next week. We have Indianapolis, which is going to be interesting to say the least, in 2 weeks' time, and then the regular season ends at Richmond in 3 weeks' time to end off the chase. Obviously, this 15 car, if not locked in, very close to being locked in. So it's all about just grabbing race wins when you can get them. Watkins Glen, probably the most famous of the road courses on the NASCAR calendar. For the Winstel gang, this 15 camp has been consistently at the front for all the road courses, whether it's been Sonoma, whether it's been Watkins Glen. Is the feeling the same going into next week's race in New York?
Yeah, I think so. I think our plan from here on out is just to kind of finish, top 5, top 10 like we've done all year, and just have a solid contention until we get to the chase, right? I don't want to, rely on being locked in and have, 3 DNFs between now and New Hampshire. So I want to just, have a chance to just, pad our stats and hopefully go into the chase with either the first place or second place, bonus points to kind of kickstart our chase campaign this year.
Right now, you're doing a really good job of that. It's been a battle between you and Dylan Roberts and Jeremy Davis for that top spot in the points. You grab it back here tonight, so a fantastic run of form there. Second place here at Daytona as well. Before we let you go, obviously let you focus on the races coming up here with Watkins Glen, Indy, and Richmond. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on the run of form here. And once again, the points lead belongs to that Napa Auto Parts 15 team.
Yeah, appreciate it. Just want to give a big shout out to DEI, putting a good motor in this car, all the Uris and Slugger back at the shop, everybody who watches, tunes in, ABM putting this all together, and everyone behind the scenes at Winstel who helps organize these great races we see every Sunday.
And so we get a long stretch of races all the way to Labor Day weekend. We have Watkins Glen next Sunday. We get to see Emily Howe battle for a race win once again in New York. Emily, enjoy it, and hopefully we get to talk to you again very soon.
Yeah, hope so. See you next week.
That was Emily Howe, the second place finisher tonight. We will flip the script and talk to the man of the hour. We'll talk to Jacob Potak, the race winner here in Daytona. A return to form for the 22 camp here in Daytona. Jacob, walk us through it. That 22 car was quick throughout the race. It was just a matter of picking your time and figuring out who you wanted to work with. Walk us through that part of the process, and then obviously win the strike, obviously knowing that your back is against the wall and you only really get one chance to make that move.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I really thought I screwed it up. I think it was like 15 to go, and I pulled out in front of Brennan, and I really wasn't even. I didn't have a big plan to try and take the lead there. I really just was pushing Emily and didn't have my eye on my temps, and all of a sudden, spotter comes over and says, "Oil temp's too hot. Look down. It's 280 something." I know that's not a good number, so I really just needed to get air on the nose, and then Brennan pulled the slick move on the inside, set me. I got all the way back to 20th, I think. At that point, I looked down. I think it was 13 laps to go, and just thought to myself, like, dang, ran good for a whole 40 laps just to throw it away. And was just hoping to get back to like top 10 or respectable position. And it's been a while since I'd had a clean Daytona race. And yeah, just kept working forward. And once I got hooked up back with Emily, it was kind of like, I know I'm going to shove the 15 car and it's probably going to go to the front. Didn't have a big plan that was going to go for the win or anything, but just like, if I want to get a good finish, I got to go with Emily. And yeah, it was, as she said, like, I was shocked when she went to the outside off turn 2, but was just like, all right, this makes it easy for me. I don't even need to make a choice here. Let me just stay where I am. So yeah, it all just worked out like it does sometimes. And it'd been a long time since I had a good race like that, so feeling extra pumped.
Obviously, for you, you're in the top 10 in the points. That 22 car looking set to make a run at a championship here this season. It is going to be tough. You're battling the 15, you're battling the 6, you're battling, obviously, the 4 car. All of them are in the top 10 here tonight. You look at Watkins Glen next week. You go to New York. This 22 car has been quick on the road courses traditionally. Expecting a little bit more of the same once we go to Watkins Glen next Sunday. Is that the case? Is that the vibe you're sort of feeling going into this? Is that this is something that you can try to carry into New York next week? Or is there some leeriness with this new car going to Watkins Glen for the first time, trying to figure out how different that might be?
Definitely just going to give it my best shot. Definitely going to have a little extra pep in the step too. So that never hurts the confidence, and you definitely need that. So, I mean, yeah, I ran really good at Montreal, and Sonoma was the first race because I moved and I just got my rig set up earlier that day. So that was kind of a write-off for me. Just didn't feel good at all. So, yeah, Watkins Glen hoping to return that road course for him and going to give it the best shot.
We're excited to see what that's going to look like next Sunday. Before we let you go and let you obviously focus on Watkins Glen for next weekend's race, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on an incredible race win, and a return to form here at Daytona.
Thank you, Carmen. Well, I want to shout out you. Everything goes on at ABN. Really, really thankful of the broadcast as always, and happy to talk to you again. Been too long, and I want to thank Brandon and everybody setting up the event. It was really, really fun tonight. The setup I thought was awesome and most fun super speedway racing I've had in a while. And it was always fun with Winstel. It's just tonight was an extra notch. And also shout out to my girlfriend.
Absolutely. Winstel always puts on some pretty amazing plate races. This was no different. Jacob Potak, the winner of the Pepsi 400. He has to try to go and do it again at Watkins Glen International next Sunday. Jacob, enjoy the race win tonight, and obviously, hopefully, we get to talk to you again a lot more throughout the rest of the season. Enjoy it.
Thanks, Carmen.
That was Jacob Potak, your race winner here in Daytona for the Pepsi 400. Job done and dusted if you are the number 22 camp. So let's talk about the full season points as things stand. Emily Howe with the points lead over Dylan Roberts. Jacob Potak moves his way back up into the top 3, over Jeremy Davis, who did have a very interesting take on this race as things kind of played out. I said that he finished top 10. I was mistaken on that, as we covered earlier in this race. He did not have a chance. He was wrecked out and finished 28th on the last lap. So he did not have the opportunity to finish top 10. But he's still pretty safe. He's within 86 points of the race leader. He can afford to have a bad race, knowing he can return to form at the Glen next Sunday. Gabriel Mauricio in 5th, Nick Doucette, Christian Budd. This is the top 10 right now. If the chase were to begin today, these are the drivers that be in it. We've got 3 races to go before we get to the chase: Watkins Glen, Indianapolis, and Richmond. Remember those 3 races, because it's the gauntlet that we're in now. Christian Budd, Tyler Head, Sean Pellig, another great race for the 48 camp here tonight. Brendan McKissick, a top 5 for him, moves him back into the top 10. But then you look at some of those that are outside the top 10. You look at Christina Ryan, you look at Brendan McGee, who were hoping to make more happen tonight than what they got. For Christina Ryan, especially, next week's going to be pretty important. Typically a really good road course runner, typically really good at Watkins Glen. We'll see if that's the case for that 88 camp next Sunday. Brendan McGee, not so proficient on the road courses. He's going to struggle a little bit. He's hoping for a little bit of chaos in New York. Kyle Benson. Last time we saw him on road courses, we've seen him at Montreal, we've seen him at Sonoma. Caught up in a little bit of the mayhem. Let's see if he can avoid that and get a good result at New York next week as well. Evan Locke, also sort of middle of the road. Sonoma was not his finest form in that 2-car 14th place, but Montreal went well for him. So let's see what that 2-car can do as well. Again, a lot of your road course aces are going to be in this range outside looking in, and they could leapfrog their way in with a solid result at Watkins Glen, the last road course race of the season. So you look at Locke, you look at Ryan, you look at Benson. If they can really hammer it down and put it together, Jose Solis Jr., another one that could put it together as well. Could be interesting to see how this shakes up and how this looks after next week's race at Watkins Glen. Ryan Hill, Austin Reedy, Larry Pace, Philip Snipes, they ran out your top 20. And as we kind of browse and peruse here, you look a little bit further down. Kirk Marble had a pretty decent run. He leapfrogs over Parker Alexander. Jonathan Hernandez did not start tonight's race, so we didn't have a defending Pepsi 400 winner. He was 23rd in points. Alex Bates had a pretty rough race. Still gained points, still gained positions. He's up to 24th ahead of Ryan Doucette and Brandon Cruz. Jordan Barabee, Tom Willett, Mike Rasmus, and Steve Brown, your top 30 as things run right now. And then you look here as things run, and it is a pretty interesting shift. Josh Chen in 31st. He lost 4 spots. He is expected to be back in running in Watkins Glen next week. Lucas Davila, he gained 4 spots. He is now in the top 35. He is locked in for next week's race. Chris Champeau stays 33rd. Anthony Krobach, we talked about him, leapfrogging his way into the top 35. Corey Cook stays top 35. Very interestingly to see how that played out there for Corey Cook. So he's still locked in. Brandon Coppinger loses out on the points, wrecking out late in the race tonight. Costs him a chance to lock himself into the top 35 for Watkins Glen. He'll have to try it again next week. Only the biggest benefit, I think, for Coppinger is that they're not expecting to see all 43 cars present at the Glen. Be surprised if we do. Tyler Murray in 37th. Matt Sisler 38th, Greg Lautenslager 39th, Andrew Griesbaum in 40th is how the outside of that top 35 looks. And just browsing and perusing here, still some shuffling back and forth here. Evan Melanson moves up the order a little bit. So does Matt Skipper. So does Thomas Lewandowski, your pole sitter tonight. He moves up to 43rd. Still a lot of work to do before he gets to the top 35 conversation, but they're on their way up in the running order. And that will do it from us here at Daytona for the Pepsi 400. We get to have an extended week away from broadcasting. We'll be back live next weekend, Saturday, right here on Twitch, 2 p.m. It is the VRR Super Cup from Interlagos. That'll be a lot of fun. And then we're back racing next Sunday, once again, 7:45 p.m. Eastern, for Winstel Cup Series action at Watkins Glen. On behalf of everyone here for Winstel and for ABN Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the time ahead. So long, everybody.